Hello and welcome back to the Because LV podcast. We're getting into the quiet confidence of not caring what people think about you. This might actually be one of the most powerful things you will take through life with you. I can guarantee that at some point in your life, you made a decision based off of what other people would think of you. Honestly, can we take a moment to think about the things we didn't do because we were worried about how other people would perceive us or if they would approve of what we were doing? I'm sure you can think of at least one thing. And the first thing that comes to mind, I hope in 2025, you think about that and take that feeling with you and do everything in your power to not repeat it. But this episode, I feel like it's really going to help you because we're going to break down exactly where the need for validation comes from, why we're even stuck in this cycle of needing approval from other people, but also how to give it to yourself so that you can move forward in life confidently, knowing that you're living your truth. Okay? So let's get into it. I like this term, quiet confidence. It's kind of sexy. In 2025, we're going to be all about quiet confidence. So what exactly is quiet confidence? Quiet confidence is just self-reassurance. Self-reassurance is silent. The difference between quiet confidence and arrogance is, again, you don't need anyone else's approval. And I think with arrogance, people feel the need to be vocal, to have receipts, to show everybody what they're doing in their life. It's kind of like quiet luxury. You know that term people started using about people who are rich, and you just like smell it on them that they're rich when they walk into a room. They don't have to have like Gucci across their chest or like Dolce & Gabbana. They don't have to have any sort of logo across their chest. You just know the bitch is rich. They walk in smelling like money, smelling like Rihanna. Like they just have it, right? That's the same concept, but we're doing it with confidence, okay? There are just some people who walk into a room and have that thing. They have that glow. They have that something, it's like attractive, it's charming, it's drawing you in because what you're feeling is that they fuck with themselves, okay? That's what you're smelling on them. And people say it all the time, like for example, people are like, if you don't like yourself, it's so obvious. Like when you love yourself, it's attractive. People can tell that you're confident in who you are. It's like the same thing. It's nothing that you need to vocalize. It is just there. It exists. And that's the beautiful thing about it. With quiet confidence, you don't need to prove anything to anyone else. The only person you need to prove something to is yourself. So yeah, we're going to get into how that actually works out because you can't just do that overnight or else you would have done it by now. You wouldn't have clicked into this video and this podcast. Like you literally have a lot of work to do to get to that point. But the good news is I got you. It's possible to get there. And yeah, I'll just give you a spoiler. It's a work in progress. It's something you're going to have to continue to nurture throughout your life because yes, you can master the art of inner confidence, but like everything, you are human. So you're going to have your good days and your bad days when it comes to that. But like exercising, it's a muscle, and the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. So don't worry about it. Listen, you guys know drinking water has always been an important part of my wellness routine. But as you may know, since I've been pregnant, I've had this crazy pregnancy symptom of having difficulty drinking water. With all the heightened senses I have and the pregnancy hormones, it's been a blessing and a curse that I can taste drastic differences in my water. So much so to the point that I have a hard time drinking certain kinds of water. Now, I obviously want the baby and myself to get optimal hydration, and luckily, AquaTrue purifiers have helped me get clean, safe water. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. The water tastes fantastic, and you don't have to worry about PFAs or other harmful contaminants. The filters are affordable and last from 6 months to 2 years. Using one set of filters from their classic purifiers make the equivalent of 4,500 bottles of water. I can truly taste the difference, and staying hydrated has been so much easier with my AquaTrue. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even makes a great gift. Today, my listeners can receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com, that's AQUATRU.com, and enter code BCILY at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use promo code BCILY. In order to address why we care so much about what other people think about us, we have to first address literally the human need for validation, okay? You weren't just born caring about what people thought about you. You weren't. You came out of your mom's womb pootin' and tootin'. You didn't really care what anyone thought about it, and you were probably the happiest you'll ever be. But here's the thing. As soon as you come out the womb, you are put into the validation system. Validation is absolutely essential to your survival. There are things that as a child you learn to seek approval with, but some of that is quite literally dependent on your survival. For example, as a child, you learn, I don't want to make my parents mad. If I run out into the middle of the street where there are cars, I'm going to upset my parents. Okay. Yes. In those cases, validation is incredibly important. Now, obviously that's an extreme example, but I'm just saying you get the gist. There's a need to seek validation, and it is essential to your survival. Then you go off to school and it's the same thing. I remember we had like this system in elementary school where we had colors. And if you were a good little girl, you got to stay on green. And if you were misbehaving, you had to go to yellow. And then there was red. And then I think there was like purple or blue or something. Like one of them meant principal's office. One of them meant call like mom. Like you did not want to go past red, right? Yellow was like, you're okay, but I remember if I had to change my color in elementary school, I was devastated. I was literally ruined. And looking back on that, that just tells me I seek validation so much. And you better believe that if I had to change my color or if I ever made it to red, God forbid I was having one of those days, I got a talking to when I got home. And so what you're learning with validation is that if you don't do it the right way, you get shamed, you get punished, you feel like a bad person. So it's not your fault that you've ended up as some kind of people pleaser in your adulthood. It's not your fault that you seek validation. You have been conditioned since you were a little kid to be a good little boy or a good little girl. That's just what they've done to us. And that's okay to a certain degree because you do want to be a morally good person. You want to be safe. You want to have the capabilities to survive. But now that you're an adult, there are certain things you don't need validation for. You don't need anyone's validation on who you want to date, who you want to be friends with, what you want to do with your entire life, your life's purpose, your career. You don't need validation for certain things. But once you get into adulthood, it's like, how do you separate that? Now you have the survival to know like, okay, don't run into a busy street. Don't put my hand on a fucking hot stove. Okay, we got the basics down. But now how do we live a fulfilling life without feeling the repercussions of not being validated by other people? It takes some unlearning. Now we have to unlearn how to not be a people pleaser and how to not be validated by other people. Another reason you care so much about what people think about you is because there is a human need for connection and acceptance. In society, the outliers don't have friends, they're not a part of the group, and there is nothing worse than feeling rejection. So also a part of your need for validation is your fear of being rejected. You want to be a part of the group. And again, this goes back to your innate need for survival. This is just human shit right here. But there are certain things, again, again, when it's starting to impede on your quality of life and it's starting to diminish your purpose in life, and when you are compromising the things that you actually want to do because you want to be a part of a group, a social setting, or have someone's approval, that's where the line is, babe. Like, that is not okay. You can't be living an entirely different life than the one that you are meant to live just because you want to be a part of the group. Babe, it's really not that bad on the lonely end of the spectrum, okay? Like, yes, like you need some friends or two, but babe, if those friends aren't in your corner, deuces, okay? You cannot allow rejection, judgment, and fear to keep you from living your absolute best life. The people that you're looking at and wishing that it was you, it literally could be you. And I use social media all the time. When it comes to making videos, there are so many people who message me that are like, how do I start, Bria? Like, how do I start? I'm like, babe, I didn't have an ebook on how to start. I just fucking picked up something that would record a video and I just started. And it was weird. It was cringy. It was all the things. I didn't have a solid plan for any of it. But the difference between you and I is that I was willing to be judged. I was willing to be rejected. I let go of my fear of needing to be accepted, and I found it within myself, and now I have a career from it. That's the difference between me and some of you that want to be in my position. There's literally no reason why you can't be in my position if you would stop caring about what your hometown friends think about you, because baby, the bravery that it takes to go after something you want is honestly so inspiring and admirable, and you should be so fucking proud of yourself if you ever do something that is outside of the norm. And anyone who's ever on the other side of that narrative and wants to tell you that it's weird or you're full of yourself is projecting. And projection is simply not your problem or my problem. It's something they need to work through. Okay. So you got to do what you want to do, but you have to let go of the fear of whatever, fear of judgment. It's the fear of rejection. It's not wanting to be perceived. I get it. And 90% of my job is that. Like, I promise you, I get it more than you will ever understand. And the thing is, it's not that I avoid those feelings. I just lean into them. Especially when I first started in social media, there were a lot of people who were looking at me sideways. Like, you? Why? Like, who are you, Bria Jones, to think that anyone would want to keep up with your life? I don't fucking know. Great question. But what I do know is I just love being here. I love being here and I'm having fun. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And there were many occasions where I would find out that someone I thought was my friend said something really nasty about me trying to pursue social media as a career. And it hurt. So I'm not here to tell you that those things aren't going to happen. They're going to happen. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people who are going to want to make you feel so fucking small and so dumb. And it's because there's something so small in the back of their head that knows if you keep at it, you could make it. And there's no worse feeling than them seeing you live out your dream and them not, because they weren't brave enough. So fuck them. This episode is brought to you by Boron. For peaceful days and restful nights, try Boron's Stress Calm and Sleep Calm homeopathic medicines. Find your calm with plant-powered, sedative-free solutions free from artificial sweeteners, flavors, and colors. Stress Calm relieves occasional nervous tension, irritability, hypersensitivity, and fatigue due to everyday stress. The best part? It works to calm both the mind and body without making you feel drowsy, so you can stay relaxed and focused throughout your day. Sleep Calm is a melatonin-free option to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. It's ideal for those restless nights when worries, exhaustion, jet lag, or changing work shifts keep you awake. Both Stress Calm and Sleep Calm come in melt-away tablets suitable for ages 12 and up. For little ones, Sleep Calm Kids are also available in melatonin-free, pre-measured liquid doses for ages 3 and up. All Stress Calm and Sleep Calm medicines are non-habit forming and free from artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, and preservatives. Claims are based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated. Visit boronusa.com and use code BCILY at checkout for 20% off your purchase of any stress calm or sleep calm medicine. That's BOIRONUSA.com. Use code BCILY for 20% off your purchase of any stress calm or sleep calm medicine. So how do you know if you care too much about what people think about you? Well, I think generally you can honestly ask yourself, are there things that you've done in the last month, in the last year, in the last week, hell, where you made a decision that you knew wasn't what you really wanted for the sake of being normal, going with the flow, trying not to be different or perceive different? I think a clear sign that you might be a people pleaser is overthinking. I think they're kind of parallel sometimes, because if you have to overthink, it just means that you're really considering too many people's perspective. You're thinking too deep into the narrative. And to be quite honest with you, I say this with a lot of love. If you're an overthinker, the next time you're overthinking, I need you to zoom out from the picture and understand that you are not the center of everyone's universe. I say that with love and light, okay? Maybe to your mama and your daddy, your dog, but no one is thinking about you like you are thinking about yourself. So stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be this cool individual or whatever you think you are, because you are, but like also understand, like, you know, the world is on fire. There are UFOs in the sky and we don't know what's going on with that. Apparently there's some aliens in the water. People quite literally cannot pay their bills. And you're worried about like the TikTok you're posting, like what people think about that. Be for real. You know, people are quite literally losing their lives all over the world. People are losing their rights literally on our soil in the US. And you're worried about what people are going to think about you if you wear that midi skirt to the holiday dinner. Come on now. I need you to be a little bit for real. Okay, zoom out from the picture just a little bit and understand that there's so much more going on in the world. And anyone who is that obsessed with you, okay, weird, bless them. But move on, because also you have more going on in your life than to be worrying about these minuscule things, these small decisions that really don't matter that much. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to make those decisions with everyone else in mind. Just do what you want to do. I think a really good sign that you care too much about what people think about you is when you leave someone and you feel emotionally drained, or you feel like your authenticity is just like, you don't know who you are at the end of the day because you are just a chameleon of everything around you and every person around you. This is a really good opportunity to realize that you need to dig a little deeper and figure out who you are. And figuring out who you are requires bravery. It requires you to not care about what people think about you. And that's a scary thing. But wouldn't you rather live a life of authenticity and quite literally freedom than a life of regret and what ifs? Regret has literally been my biggest motivator. Outside of just straight up being petty, regret is what keeps me going. Number one, yes, is I never want to get to a point where I look back on my life and wish that I did something. And that's how like choosing a career in social media worked out for me. I could not fathom being like 80 years old. And I know this is like dramatic to say because I'm just posting my little TikToks, you know. No, seriously, it was a devastating feeling for me to think about what my life would be like if I did not try this. And I've never had that feeling about anything. Well, I have to do it, right? And then the second motivator that I have is quite literally when people tell me I can't do something, I have to do it. I have to. It's the best motivator for me. I love it so much. It's a challenge. And I have ADHD, so I literally fixate on the thing until I do it. It blessing and a curse. But yeah, here's the thing. The consequences are too great when it comes to the cost of caring too much about what people think about you. It's inhibiting your life. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you are changing the purpose of your life and the things that you deeply desire to make other people happy, you've lost. You lost the game of life. You can't do it. there's a lot of consequences. But for example, when it comes to work for me, because that's the easiest thing I can relate it to. When I'm seeking validation a little too much, when I'm really in that bubble, it stifles my creativity and my individuality so much. So much to the point that I lose that creativity. I lose that inspiration to do the things that I want to do, to make the content that I want to make. And I feel so disconnected from myself. And that's because you are quite literally trying to like look through the lens of everyone who's looking at you. So therefore, how do you have time to even be yourself? You don't. It is just mentally taxing having to think about what every person is going to think about your decision before you make the decision. And sometimes that's not just like social approval, like friends. Sometimes it's family. It's your parents that literally are on your neck. Like sometimes it's too much mentally. And people might be like, oh, like, I don't know why I'm depressed, why I'm sad. And a big question I always have to ask myself when I'm going through a depressive state is, am I living my life for me? Or am I trying to live my life for other people or what they think I should be? And 9 times out of 10, whenever I'm going through a depressive episode, it's because I feel like I'm not living up to someone's standards and I'm not getting their validation. That's what I'm craving. And more often than not, it's always a part of why I go through depressive episodes. It's crazy, but that quickly spirals into dictating your life. If you don't catch yourself, you will get accustomed to living that way. So much so to the point that you don't even know what it feels like to live for yourself. And then when you do try to live for yourself and you do try to make decisions off of what you really want deep down, you feel like an asshole. You feel really guilty about that. And that's a tough thing to get through too. That's an incredibly hard thing to learn how to work through, especially if you've been doing it most of your life and you're in adulthood now, which most of you listening and watching are. So you have to give yourself some grace. But again, it's like you have to train yourself to get there. So how are we going to train ourselves to have quiet confidence and stop giving a fuck what people think about us? You got to start by bringing awareness to the areas in your life where you are seeking validation. So I want everyone to take 3 Mississippis to think about that exactly. Where are you not living your most authentic life? Where are you looking around to other people to validate you and give you the approval that you need to move forward? Is it mommy and daddy? Is it your friends? Is it the internet? Is it your kids? What is it? 3 Mississippis. Okay. Do we all have something in mind? I'm sure we all have something in mind, but this is the first step. You can't fix what you don't bring your awareness to, okay? And if you need more time to think about it, hey, this episode will always be here. Go back, listen to it 4 more times. I don't care. But that's the first step. As you guys know, we have a baby bestie on the way in 2025, and I'm already experiencing the first-time mom anxieties. So I've been looking for the best baby products to keep baby safe and my mind at ease. The Nanit Baby Monitor is one that I'm so excited to use. This baby monitor allows you to see your baby anytime, anywhere using the Nanit app. The high-def camera captures every precious moment, so we never miss a milestone and we know our baby's safe. Nanit allows you to track your baby's breathing and sleep patterns and will send you personalized insights. This adds up to more sleep for your baby and more rest for you. In fact, Nanit parents get an extra 36 nights of sleep a year, and Nanit babies sleep 10% longer than average. The Nanit Baby Monitor is a must-have, and of course, our listeners get a special offer. Get 20% off your first order with code DREAM20. That's DREAM20 at nanit.com. That's NANIT.com. Now the hard part is you're going to have to start practicing inner validation. Honestly, it's easier said than done. I'll be honest with you. Telling yourself it's fine that you want to do certain things, you are worthy of chasing your dreams. At first it feels a little stupid. Okay, it's like trying to tell yourself the tooth fairy is real. If you are a child, the tooth fairy is real. Okay, sorry, I didn't give a trigger warning for that. But how do you condition yourself? Again, I'm a huge proponent of training yourself like a Pavlov dog. If it works for the dogs, why can't it work for us? Train yourself by starting to celebrate the small wins in your life. Validate yourself when you do something good. And something good doesn't have to be, oh, I just got a promotion at work. Think on literally any scale. Oh, today I decided to wear an outfit that feels absolutely like myself. And I know it's different and I know it's weird, but I fucking love it and I'm hot. Yes, celebrate that. That can just be a pep talk. That can be maybe doing something special for yourself, like literally reward. Go get a cake pop. I don't know, but train your brain to be happy and to be excited about thinking like an individual and thinking for yourself, because it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you think about like the most creative, innovative people in the world. Like think about celebrities who are really fucking weird. Okay. Like Lady Gaga, I'm going to use her as an example. That bitch, I love her. When she first came out though, do y'all remember how much scrutiny she got? Like she was wearing meat suits. Like she was weird. Okay. And people were so annoyed and pissed off by her presence, which she really wasn't doing anything crazy. She was just doing something different and weird. But y'all were talking about her and she knew that because she's a fucking smart bitch. And now look at her legacy of like what she's become and what she's evolved to. Like, yeah, maybe she did some off the cuff things in the beginning, but there was a deeper meaning for her. That entire time, she was setting herself apart and she literally couldn't care less what you thought about her. And it's really funny. I saw these clips of people talking about going to high school with Lady Gaga and how she was literally Lady Gaga in high school. She would like sing and play the piano all the time in high school, so much so to the point that her classmates were annoyed with her. But she was like, I'm Lady Gaga. You'll find out one day. And we found out she really is that bitch. So you have to, I kind of went on a tangent, sorry, but you have to understand that like in order to be on the same level as these people who are really outliers and doing extremely creative things, breaking the mold, you have to break the mold within yourself and be okay with being different. And that's going to come with people always talking shit about you. So like just get comfortable and get used to it because you know where you're headed. And that's part of the inner validation, is telling yourself, I know where I'm going. I know what I have in mind. I know what I deserve. And celebrating when you actually continue to go on that path and don't let anyone take you off. And however you want to celebrate, that's up to you. But that's part of building that inner validation, is kind of training yourself to be happy and excited when you lean into who you were truly meant to be, especially when you haven't been doing it your entire life. It's going to take some time, so be patient. Another part of building confidence with yourself, learning to trust yourself to make decisions. If you've always looked to your family for approval, this is going to be one of the hardest things for you, because especially if you guys don't align on certain things and certain decisions and choices that you want to make, it's going to feel really weird, right? We've all been given a level of intuition, okay? There's a good need to have other people's input and advice, right? But here's the thing. If your decision is not necessarily harming you or anyone else, it's a suggestion. It's not like Bible, like you have to follow it. It's a suggestion. And I think that we have to learn how to take suggestions versus like taking people's word as the truth. There is a voice inside of you that knows the next step you need to take. If you would allow yourself to tap into that intuition and sit in stillness and quietness, which is uncomfortable, mind you, you would be getting the answers you need on what you need to do. But again, we are so caught up on thinking everyone has the answers around us, but no one has the answers about what you need in your life more than you do. Truly, you've been given that from whatever you want to refer to it as, God, Source, Holy Spirit. You have that gift. You don't need to tap into anyone else to tell you what to do. But of course, like, we're human. It's okay to like seek suggestions and advice from other people. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, you have the answers within. I sound like a guru. The answers are within you. But they really are. And sometimes, especially when you are making a bigger decision, right? Like, we're not talking about like what you're wearing to the holiday dinner party right now, but let's say you're making like a career choice. Like, for example, for me, I quit a corporate job to do social media in like 2017 or 2018 when I had nothing to go off of but this voice that I could not deny. I could not deny it. And that's all I can tell you. And I'm lucky that my parents said, okay, we're here if you need us. Do your thing. I'm lucky I had those kind of parents, but I know a lot of parents would be like, what? I mean, now that I'm thinking about it from my own lens, because I am growing a baby right now, if my kid came up to me and was like, I'm going to leave a stable job with benefits to make TikTok videos, I would be like, hang on there. Can we dissect that a little more? But that's exactly the thing that I did. And I think like sometimes that validation doesn't have to be negative at all. It's part of like love and security and people caring about you and wanting to make sure that you're good. And me thinking about it now from a parental lens, I would be scared. I would be scared for my child, which sounds so hypocritical. But at the same time, I think that's an opportunity for me as a parent to practice letting my kid make that choice, even if it led to a quote unquote failure. That's still an opportunity for me and that child to grow, because you don't get anywhere in life without hitting a few bumps in the road anyways. So that's fine too if it doesn't work out. But the point is, you're making a decision that feels authentic to you. You're making a decision that now you can look back in life and say, hey, it didn't work out, or it did work out, and look at where I am now. But imagine if you just didn't have that at all. That's where the regret comes in. And that's where your quality of life, like literally looking back on your life, can feel so tarnished because you were seeking validation. And now that I say it out loud, I never want to be that to my kid. I hope that as my kid gets older and starts to make these decisions, like I can just be a good sounding board, but no, like I've raised them enough to know how to move through life, whether it's hard or not, and hope that it works out from there for them. And I'll be here. I'll be here if you need me. You just let me know. But building trust for yourself is really hard. And part of that means you just continue to show up for yourself through the thick and thin. Things are going to work out for you. Things are not going to work out for you. But the point is you continue to show up for yourself. Okay, guys, story time. So the other day I get a package in the mail, right? And open it, immediately sob, hysterics. Like I know the pregnancy hormones are very real, but you guys, I was not prepared to see the most adorable baby clothing. And honestly, getting these clothes in the mail is making everything so real that there's going to be a little baby boy bestie running around here soon. So I've been a mess, to say the least, and Riley and crew are to blame for this because their pieces are just so cute. So the Riley and Crew Collective, if you haven't heard of them, is a unique modern clothing company for children and moms. Each collection features hand-drawn illustrations paired with beautiful muted tones and timeless design. Riley and Crew caters to every stage of your child's life, whether that's welcoming the newest member of your family in Quincy May, dressing your child in Riley Crew for the first day of school, or celebrating any occasion in Nora Lee. And to top it off, the pieces are ethically made with organic materials. So I'm just so excited to style my baby in these clothing pieces because you guys, they're so stinking cute. But if you'd like to get some pieces yourself, you can visit rileyandcrew.com/becauseilove and use code BCILY at checkout for 15% off your first purchase. That's RYLEEANDCRU.com/becauseilove and use code BCILY for 15% off your first purchase. Another thing that really helps with letting go of seeking validation from other people, I think, is actually journaling and dissecting why you give a shit so much about what this person or what these people think about you. Sometimes when you write it down and you read it out loud, you can hear yourself. And I think part of seeking validation in so many areas of your life, like if you said it out loud, it's kind of silly. So write it down and literally read it out loud to yourself so you can hear where the disconnect is. Like you do not need to be reconstructing your life to fit into a group. And if like, this is just an example, but if that's what I wrote down, my next thought would be, why do I need this group? Why is this group so important to me? Are there other people in my life who would be healthier to have around? You start to deduce where the problem is. And sometimes that means you're going to come to a very unfortunate conclusion that maybe some people just aren't for you and for you winning. But when you journal that out, it's a lot easier to see. And I think when you can have that external view of the situation, you can be a lot more rational about it. When you're in it, when you're just thinking about it in your head and your brain is going 1,000 words per minute, you're not rational or logical about any of it. So just zoom out from it. Going back to the basics, I love a good affirmation. I love a good mantra. Something you can do quick in the moment when you are kind of seeking other people's validation is repeat these affirmations to yourself. Again, we're like Pavlov dogs. So that means brainwash yourself respectfully. It's okay if you remind yourself of what you need to remind yourself of. Like, for example, you can tell yourself their opinions don't matter. You can also remind yourself that you know better than anyone else what your next step is. Those are affirmations right there. 2 of them. I gave them to you for free 99. Use them. So whatever affirmations you need to hear in those moments when you're like debating on what decisions to make or what to do, you need to say them to yourself. You need to remind yourself of those things so that you can continue to move forward. But I promise you, like, if you repeat those things often, write them down, like do whatever you need to do, make it truth in your head, because whatever you repeat to yourself is going to become your truth. So say it. But ultimately, I think that the era we're in life right now with social media and quite literally having likes and people validate what you post is so much so as like a photo of you at dinner. Like, validation has become such a big thing. And I think social media has played such a big role in that, because there is literally likes under all of your pictures. Can you imagine social media without the likes? I mean, it's kind of crazy to conceptualize, but that's such a big part of it. And so much, like, I see so many videos where people are like, if you have friends that don't like your videos, then they're your ops. And I see where you're coming from with that. But also, like, personally, I'm a doom scroller. Sometimes I'm just on there for the vibes. Okay. I think we're getting a little disconnected from the plot. Okay. We have to zoom out from ourselves. We really do. But we don't currently live in a society that is helping us understand the bigger picture. And we are so focused on these minuscule things when quite literally there are people dying, but we're focused on who's liking our content and showing that validation. Babe, if you feel like someone's not supporting you, just unfollow them or text them. Like, let's move on. It doesn't have to be that deep. This holiday season, I want to give a gift to my loved ones that makes them feel special and unique, just like the relationship we share. That's why I'm giving everyone I care about Storyworth. So here's how it works. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved ones a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. Things like, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? What's the furthest you've ever traveled? Or how did you used to get to school every day? Storyworth makes the writing process a breeze. All your loved ones need to do is respond to that email with a story, long or short, doesn't matter. And then after that year of fun, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to keep and share and revisit for generations to come. I can't wait to start this. I'm going to send it to my siblings and my parents. And now that I'm having a kid of my own, it's really cool to see how they'll be able to keep up with the history of our family. With Storyworth, I'm giving those I love most a thoughtful, personal gift from the heart and preserving their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/Bria Jones and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/Bria Jones to save $10 on your first purchase. I think also detoxing from social media and touching grass is something we all need to do, especially if you're on the path to stop seeking people's validation. Because when you can disconnect from the internet and see life around you for what it really is, it's going to change your perspective on yourself. You're going to realize, I'm not the center of the universe, and I mean that with love and light, but you are not. There's so many more important things. So it'll make it easier for you to make decisions for yourself when you realize the world is so big and there are so many other things going on that your decision to wear this outfit or go this direction with your career, yes, those things are important, but it's not dictating anyone else's world but yours. It's only making your life more miserable because you're not doing the things you want to do because you care too much about what people think about you. So don't do that. Just don't do that. Go outside. I actually just got a knitting kit so that I can take my own advice and get off the internet and start doing things that make me feel happy offline. But most importantly, it requires both of my hands. And I got this from Tony Bravo. So get a hobby that requires two hands. I think I've said this in the last 3 episodes at this point. We have to zoom out from ourselves and we have to be more empathetic to what other people are going through, not just ourselves. That will make you feel better just on its own. But it'll make you realize the decisions you make are for you and you don't have to be overthinking them so much. I promise you, if you start to implement some of these things to stop seeking validation from other people and practice quiet confidence, your life will drastically improve. And I'm not just saying that. I'm literally a product of my own advice. I would not have a house. This entire house that we just bought is a byproduct of having quiet confidence in myself, even when people were talking shit. People still talk shit. I don't care. I'm just going to keep showing up and doing my thing because it's been working. We closed on the house. Like, it's been working, right? You will be so much happier. You will be so much more fulfilled. You will actually hit the goals you want to hit in life. And I think when people around you, if they care about you truly as a person, when they start to see that you are a happier individual, that you look and feel better because you're living your truth, they're going to support that. And anyone who doesn't support that is an ultimate hater and never wanted you to succeed in the first place. So you never needed validation from anybody like that. But again, like I said, I think there are two kinds of people when it comes to validation. There are people who are actually looking out for you and there are people who aren't. But regardless, you know what you need at the end of the day. That's the bottom line. Point blank, period. But I promise you, when you start showing up for yourself, none of that's going to matter. They're going to see you're thriving and they're going to be happy for you. And that's all that matters. And ultimately, there really is nothing better than having the freedom of being free from what people think about you. It's such a freeing feeling. And here's where I'll end it and tie it up though. It is a lifelong practice. It's not something that you just develop overnight and you have it on lock. Maybe if you are Lady Gaga, you do. Maybe if you're Kanye West, you do. I feel like those kinds of people just kind of, don't care what people think about them. And it's interesting sometimes. But for more of us who have more of a average mundane life, it is a practice because a lot of our life is dependent on going with the flow and what is normal and being a part of the group, not breaking the status quo. Like so much of our lives have been like this for decades. And so it's hard to just snap out of that overnight. And you're not gonna. There's gonna be ebbs and flows where there will be times where you're better at that or worse at that. Maybe you're feeling more secure with yourself. Maybe you're feeling more insecure with yourself. That's just life and that's okay. But as long as you have these basic practices in place where you know, okay, let me go back to my affirmations. Let me go back to journaling. It's okay to go back to the basics to remember who you are and sharpen up those skills again. It's okay. You might get away from them, just like sometimes we go to the gym and we're on our shit and sometimes we're like, I need to get back in the gym and really tweak some things. Like I need to go a little harder. It's the same concept. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to have this and stick with it because that's so not reasonable. You don't live in a world where that is reasonable, but trust, you do live in a world where it is possible. So you have the tools now, you have the information. I hope in 2025, you can bring this energy into the new year that is unapologetic and start learning how to lean into being yourself. Say no to things you don't want to do. Say yes to the things you do want to do, okay? It's either a hell no or fuck yes moving forward, and that should be your vibe in 2025. And I hope that you do because you deserve to live a life of complete authenticity and happiness and freedom, okay? So let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, who you've been seeking validation from, who you're going to let go of that with. If you have any tips, let's talk in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. And just a reminder, we're here every Monday. Yeah, you can come hang out. So we've been doing some fun things with the podcast. We've been doing some interviews finally, which I'm really excited about. Our first one was Tony Bravo. Make sure you go see that if you didn't see that episode yet, because it was so good. And we have so many more coming up. Literally, I can't wait. This is a fun era for the Because I Love You podcast. And it's really thanks to you guys because you continue to show up and support. So if you liked this, rate it 5 stars, share it. And again, keep showing up every Monday with us to hang out. Love you.